you have had a crazy, 6-8 months now?
Yeah.
Let's start with that. Where's your head at right now?
Oh my gosh, it's been super fun. You know, we've got the end of the school year kind of happened, and we finished Big Fish at Salt Lake School for the Performing Arts.
Right.
And we got all our nominations in, and it was, it's exciting, but you never think, oh, I'm gonna get to perform on the Echo stage, much less the Minskoff stage in New York City.
Right.
And we went and started rehearsing for the medleys at the Utah High School Musical Theater Awards.
Sure.
And it was incredible. Like, you get there and you're like, these guys are insane. They're so good. And then the awards night happens, and I won that. And honestly, I was just thrilled that I won that.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, I get to go to the Jimmys now, and I get to go to New York for the first time. And we got there, and everything I felt the first awards is heightened because everybody's 10 times better.
Sure. It's the best of the best,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. And I got there, and I was like, oh, this is great. I get to come for the experience, and that's it. And,
sure.
And you go through all these rehearsals that are 14 hours long every single day. And then the awards night is finally here, and you have the butterflies in your stomach. And of course, like, I never really got nervous for shows because I'd done it so much, and it's just like you became accustomed to being on stage. But then you finally get to the awards night, and you're all nervous because there's a bunch of people that are big names, and like Steven Schwartz, who was sitting in the front row.
Just a small name, right?
Just a small name.
Got it.
And and it's just like you're to ready and prepared for it, but you're still nervous and you're excited. And then I got my name called to be a finalist, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is intense. This is crazy.
You start to care then, right?
Oh,
you're like, I'm invested. Gosh. Oh no.
Yes.
Sure.
And it's and it's such an experience to look out, and then you have 4,000 seats, and
yeah, that theater is not small.
No, it isn't. It isn't. One of the biggest, I think, on Broadway right
Yep.
now. And then you come out of after everything's said and done, everybody's performed their solos. They raise you up out of the stage, and that was incredible by itself. And then to hear my name called, and it was kind of like they said from the Utah High School Musical Theater Awards. And as I said Utah, I was still waiting for them to say the name, because I was like, I still didn't believe. And then I was like, wait, I'm the only one from Utah.
You're like, wait, that should mean that, but he still needs to say my name. That makes sense.
And so it kind of I had to take a minute to process what just happened.
Sure.
And then I was like, oh wait, I have to go get the award.
Is there like a camera in your face at that moment, or were you?
Well, they're off to the sides, and
okay.
So it's like they were getting pictures, but I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go get this award. But I walked up, and it's one of those times where you're like having to search and bring your brain down a little bit to kind of be able to say what you needed to say.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking you won and it's all over, but like you still have to give this speech in front of all these people.
Yep. And
but
suddenly that's hard, right?
Oh yeah, it's just like I can sing in front of you, but I can't give a speech that's my own words.
That makes sense.
But it was truly amazing. It was such an honor, incredible feeling it was euphoria.
That is
the best
so
word
cool.
I can say, yeah.
So cool. It was fun to watch. I've got a chance to interact with a lot of the people at the Eccles, and by that, the Utah High School Theater Musical Theater Awards. I got to be there and like film and stuff like that, and just talking to some of the people there, just kind of realizing what it is. It's so neat to see them and kind of what it means to them. And theater's become something different over the last couple of years, right? There's all of a sudden like the state championship football game version of that. You know what I mean? It's pretty neat. So it's fun to see that. Talk to me about the Jimmy Awards. If I'm somebody that doesn't know anything about the Jimmy Awards, just describe me, what is that?
Yeah, so the Jimmy Awards are the National High School Musical Theater Awards is their formal name, but the Jimmy Awards is named after Jimmy Niederlander, who founded it. So they are, there's 43 regions in 26 states that participate.
Got it.
And they send 2 kids from each region to the Jimmys, a best actor and a best actress. And when you're there, it's rehearsals for the actual awards. But during those rehearsals, you have people watching you secretly. They don't say, they don't actually say that they're judging you, but they are. We all know they were.
Sure.
And you just go through the rehearsals and you work with Broadway directors and choreographers the whole week, and you have guest speakers and different things that come talk to you. But it's basically you're just rehearsing while you're competing at the same time. And then there's so we were there. We get there Monday, and we rehearse the whole week. Then on Sunday, we have judgings. So while we're rehearsing, we're also going through coachings.
Sure.
With a Broadway coach.
Yeah.
Rehearsing our solos. So we bring 2 solos, and our coach helps us figure out which one we're going to sing at the awards.
What were you 2? What did you bring?
I brought Dust and Ashes from The Great Comet of 1812, and Wondering from The Bridges of Madison County.
I saw the Bridges of Madison County one. That's great.
Yeah.
Those are more unique choices than some of the other ones there. And is there Great Comet hasn't necessarily like been in a place where you could have done it. So how did you rest on those choices?
Yeah. You know, I try to choose my songs based on a connection that I have with them.
Sure.
So I tend to not sing a song unless I can connect with it in some way. And I just felt connected to those, and I loved singing them, and that's something that's very important in musical theater is if you don't love something, don't do it.
Yeah, you've got to vibe with it, right?
Yeah, you have to be able to love it. You have to be able to love it to do it.
Very cool.
So I loved those songs. Anyway, on Sunday is when we perform those solos and our group number in front of the judges.
Sure.
So I was in the Wicked tribute number choreographed by Wayne Salento.
That's right.
And we then went and performed the group number first, and then you sit down with all the guys that are in your group, and you go up one by one and sing your solos in front of the 10 judges that are there. And it's really scary because there's one light, and you can kind of see their faces, and they're all definitely looking at you, and definitely judging you hardcore. But once you get there and everybody's in mode, like game mode, and they kind of forget about all of that, and they just put on full gear.
Sure.
But also, it's the Jimmys is really a unique experience because you think about all these other competitions that are, state football and basketball and sports and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's competition, and they're out to beat you. But here it was very unique because you're there and everybody just becomes friends so fast. Like the first day, people in theater are very social people, and we connect very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so it was actually a very beautiful experience to forget that it was a competition and to work together to create a show.
That's so cool.
And it was beautiful. It was very amazing.
That's awesome. So New York all at once, never been there before.
Nope.
All of this training and kind of things at your fingertips. I think I saw some photos online that you actually got a chance to meet Andrew from last year. Is that correct?
Yes.
What was that like?
He's such a nice guy. He's so genuine and kind and sweet. And, he just is a guy. Like everybody's just like, oh, Andrew Barth Feldman, he's Evan.
Yeah.
But like once you get to talking to him, he's just a kid, and it's just like and it's also weird because I'm older than him. I'm 2 years older than him.
Sure.
And it's just like, oh, you were here. That's crazy. Now you're on Broadway, but he's a funny, kind, genuine person. That's just fun to talk to. I mean, like it's crazy. You go and. I mean, I was like this too with Renee Rapp and Andrew and all these people, and you go and you're like, before the Jimmys, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. They're like famous.
Yep.
And then they're in my contacts now.
Yep.
And it's just like I text them whenever I want.
It's just like a Tuesday. You're like,
yeah.
hey.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's pretty fun and it's pretty crazy, but it's cool as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Theater is, to a lot of people, they recommend, or they describe it as kind of a series of moments, right? Especially for actors. You have a big song, you have a moment you need to connect to the audience, those kind of things. Talk to me about what a moment's like for you. Either a show you've been in, or what is theater about for you? What do you get up every day and want to go and do it?
Yeah, theater, and to me, it's more than just a moment on stage. To me, when you walk out of these wings, you come out and you have people sitting up that you're not only telling a story to, but you're connecting with them on such a deep level that you can't connect like that when you're playing basketball.
Yep.
And I'm not bashing on, but I love basketball. I played it. But like with any other sports or whatever, or movies, you can't connect like that.
There's nothing like it.
No. And it's just like you walk on this stage and you're giving a piece of yourself. And that's something that's very, very hard to do, and it's a deep connection. And because, for me and actors, in order to get into character, you have to, give a piece of yourself and try to connect with the character.
Sure.
And so it's kind of like the audience is not only seeing the character's emotions, they're seeing yours as well.
Mm-hmm. Little parts of you throughout, right?
And it's that is it's a very private thing that usually you don't see with people. They don't give to strangers.
You're going to take that moment that's normally very private and just go on a stage and do it.
Yeah, and it's just like actors are very, they're a very unique and special kind of person because they are giving a very personal, deep part of themselves
definitely
to complete strangers. And it's and to me that is the pinnacle of human connection.
Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful way to say that. That's awesome. Walk me through kind of Utah, like put me in my place in terms of like, this is where I grew up, this is where I went to school, this is how this happened, this is how I got involved in acting. Mm-hmm. Just give me kind of like an overview of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, my life has been it's definitely been a journey of struggle and hardship, but my parents kind of were on a rough road when they had me and my other siblings. So when I was 3 years old, my father passed away. And they were struggling financially when my father was alive, and
Sure.
Because I mean, neither my mom or my dad went to college.
Sure.
They barely passed high school. Let's be honest.
Sure.
And once my father passed away, my mom went kind of off the deep end and got into a drug addiction.
Sure.
And that overshadowed caring for her kids.
How could it not, right? That's rough.
And so my sister and I, we would sing, and music kind of helped us cope with everything that we were going through.
Sure.
And that neglect and that lack of love that we felt from our mom. And so that was, music helped us, go through all of that and kind of find our light a little bit.
That's really neat.
Yeah. And then once I was 8 years old and my sister was 13, my sister finally was brave enough to call my grandparents. And they came and got us, and we were in foster care for about 2 years. And then they were able to adopt us. And when we were adopted, they asked us if we wanted. They had a friend that they had been friends with for a long time, who ran a theater company, who was a director.
Sure.
And she had asked if we were actors and wanted to be in the show. We were like, we have no idea what musical theater is.
You're like,
why
we
not?
like songs and music, but sure.
Why not? I mean, I mean, we had never, like, I hadn't even celebrated my birthday. Like, I didn't know, like, what Christmas was.
Sure.
Because my mother was also a Jehovah's Witness, so we didn't celebrate any holidays.
Okay, that makes
So my
sense.
first birthday was when I was 8. and my first Christmas was when I was 9.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, and so like all of those things, everything that we were experiencing was so new to us, and including musical theater. And excuse me, we decided we were going to do this, and the first show was Annie, and I got cast as Mr. Bundles, and I was 9. And I got to the first rehearsal, and there were so many kids, and there were so many people, and I was like, this is scary. This is suddenly very different and real, and I went home, and I told my mom, I said, I can't do this. I'm not going to, I can't do that. And then I didn't do it, and my sister stayed in it, and so I went and saw the show, and I was sitting in the audience watching the show, and I leaned over to my mom, and I was like, Mom, I want to do this. I feel jealous now. I want to do it.
Sure.
And so she's like, okay. And the next show was Oliver. And and I said, Mom, I can't try out for a lead. I just want to go for ensemble.
Sure.
And so she said, okay. And then I auditioned, and the director said, is he sure he doesn't want to do Oliver? Can he please do Oliver? My mom said, okay, how about he put him as the understudy? And so I was like, and she said, do you want to do the understudy? And I said, okay, fine, I'll do the understudy. And then I was in rehearsal, and as rehearsal time went by, my director goes, do you want to do a show? Can you do one show? And I finally got up the courage, and I said, okay, I'll do one show. So I did my one show, and she goes, okay, do you want to do another show? And I ended up splitting the cast, like it was a double cast between me and the other kid by the end of the show. So I did about 4 shows.
Breadcrumbs, right? Little by little.
Yeah, and I loved it, and I never went back. And I am about to finish my last and final show with Jax in August 2nd.
What's that?
It is, we're doing it's like a senior showcase kind of show.
Oh, okay.
We're titling it Thanks for the Memories. It's like the sending off for our seniors. It's
Very
like
cool.
a benefit musical theater review.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talk to me about Utah. A lot of people in Utah, or excuse me, a lot of people describe Utah as kind of this untapped talent. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Talk to me about what it was like kind of coming up in the theater world and learning with, in this community.
Yeah. There's not... And and I've talked to a lot of people from New York and LA that have said there is so much in Utah that they haven't discovered yet. It's kind of like the ocean of musical theater and acting and all that. And it's just like growing up in theater here is very different because, there are things you can't do here.
Sure.
And there are shows you can't do, and if you do them, you have to change it.
Context, right?
And so, that is a little different. And it's a culture shock to go somewhere like New York where they don't change things.
Yeah.
But, it's not like we have huge theaters here, except for Eccles. That's just a touring company. But theater here is very passionate, I've noticed.
Sure.
Like people are very passionate about it.
They love it, right?
And even in most places you have the theater people. And that's it. And then that's the only people that go to shows.
Yep.
But here, people that don't that would never get into theater or do it, they still have everybody has their season tickets to the Hale Center Theater. People
Absolutely.
love to come and watch it and support it.
Yep.
And that is beautiful. So the schools, I've noticed school theater here is really big.
Absolutely.
And state drama competitions and regions. It's big here.
Absolutely.
It is a great place for theater. And I'd say, personally, I'd say it goes New York, LA, Salt Lake for arts.
Very cool.
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have described that in a lot of ways, but I think that's a more direct way to state it.
Yeah.
But I think it's true. I think there's a lot of people who are really good at it, and I think there are a lot of people who you can be good at something and maybe not have passion or a love for it, and there's a lot of love for it and a lot of passion for it.
Oh,
in this
yeah,
space.
totally.
So
Absolutely.
I think that helps a lot. So talk to me just a little bit about kind of what's next for you. You've obviously, let's just put it in the terms of social media. Overnight, you probably went from this many people following me on Instagram to like a whole nation following me on Instagram. Walk me through kind of like what that's like and what you're looking at, like maybe headed to school, maybe headed into a production. What's next for you?
Yeah, so I mean, to kind of talk about the followers kind of thing, it was crazy. And I mean, not like it matters or anything.
Sure.
Not like it's like the only thing that matters, but I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a tangible way to see something like spike, right?
Yeah, and I mean, the right before the show at the Jimmy's, I had like 700 followers.
Yeah.
And then after I won, I went back into the dressing room and picked up my phone, and there was 1,300.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was 5 minutes. That was literally 5 minutes. That's insane. Like, that's insane. And then the next day, it was up to like 2,500. And then finally, I'm at like 52.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yep.
It's fun. It is. I can't lie. It is a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
In terms of like what's next, I signed with an agency that's in New York and LA. Their name is Gersh Agency.
Absolutely.
A great group of people. I love my point agent. They're like my agent moms. They're so funny and cute and then I've just been sending in tapes and doing auditions and things. And I can't really say this is what I'm gonna do.
Sure.
Because I don't quite know what's gonna come.
Yeah, you're like in a new place. You got to kind of check the surroundings.
Yeah,
and
I mean, there's so many. I mean, for anybody, every single person at the Jimmy's, they're getting so many opportunities right now, because people reach out and they go, and there's so many people that were at the Jimmy's.
Yep.
That were there to look for talent.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
What a better place to look for up and rising talent than the Jimmy Awards.
Especially now. I mean, how many shows? There's 2 or 3 like just out of high school, still in high school, people who are like not just hanging out in the back of a show, but leading a show on Broadway right now, which is pretty cool. So.
And it's like Antonio Cipriano, who didn't even win.
Yep.
Is starring soon in Jagged Little Pill, which is Alanis Morissette's musical.
My wife and I, we just picked up our tickets. I'm like, I gotta go see that one.
Yeah, and he's also doing, I think next year, The Notebook by Ingrid Michaelson.
Sure.
Like, he's getting a lot.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun for him, and he's such a nice guy. He's also with Gersh, so we've been connecting through that way. But you can't. There's just so much that's thrown at you, and you just take it, and
kind of what sticks and what resonates with you.
You get a lot of no's before you get a yes, and I knew that going into it.
Yeah.
But it's just been fun for the experience.
Absolutely, and I think everybody goes through that in their career, but in most careers, no's are a lot more private than public, and in the acting world, it's very public and it's very right in your face. So
yep.
I think that changes a lot of things. So in terms of like shows and things like that, walk me through some favorites in the space. Or it's funny, people ask me all the time because I love theater. Hey, what's your favorite show? Or what's this? I'm like, that's an impossible question.
Yeah, it's so impossible.
You can't ask me what my favorite show is. Like, give me some context. My favorite show, like post 2000. Like, give me whatever.
You have to be so specific when you're asking an actor what their favorite piece of work is.
Absolutely. And, so let's do right now. Like, if you were to walk out to your car right now, like, what are you listening to and belting your guts at while you drive right now?
Oh boy. Right now there's a couple. I mean, Bridges of Madison County is such a bop.
Yeah, that one seems like it's close for you.
An actor, somebody in music, a singer, they find shows that they like to sing.
Yeah.
That works for their voice.
Sure.
And that becomes their favorite.
Sure.
So right now it's Hadestown and Bridges of Madison County. But also, like, I love Sondheim a lot.
Sure.
Like Into the Woods. The school I just graduated from, SPA, we call it SPA.
Sure.
Salt Lake School for the Performing Arts.
Yeah.
They're doing Into the Woods next year and Cinderella, so go see that.
That's like a straight up battlefield, though.
Oh
like,
my
Sondheim
gosh.
I don't know many high school students who are like, I love Sondheim, and they actually mean it. They're like, I'm supposed to say that. But yeah.
But like, tough. No, it is. For SPA, you go through such intensive training that like you put Sondheim in front of one of those kids and they go, Do you have anything harder?
Fair enough.
And they go, yeah, we have some Jason Robert Brown. That's perfect.
That's where I
great.
wanna
That's great.
land.
That's great.
That makes a lot of sense. That's fair.
Yeah.
So what about that? I think I also saw something you posted about. You are really fairly into his shows as well, right?
Yes, oh my gosh, I love the last 5 years. if somebody said, we have, here's an audition for Jamie in the last 5 years, I drop everything and audition for that show.
It doesn't come around very often.
It does not, and it probably never will. But if it ever did, I'm here. It is whoever's casting that show. It is. Jason Robert Brown he's such a genius that it's like,
Absolutely.
you have to love like his stuff. And if you don't, we're not friends.
It's not even like
It's not
learn
even like-
it or maybe get into it. It's just like a hard divide.
It is a hard divide between yes or no.
That's awesome.
If it's a
great.
maybe.
That show is a lot. I mean, you carry so much of the show. It's not just a lot. Vocally, it's not just a lot, plot points or story or anything like that, but it's two humans passing and not a lot else, right? It's fairly basic. So I think a lot of times in that show is just, I don't know, so many people in this space might not get it, and then when they start to get it, they just dive hard and fast, and then it's like it's just like a cult favorite after that.
Yeah,
I remember the first time I heard way back with the very first recording. I can't think of his name. My mind just went blank. From Wicked, what is his name? Big Fish, what is his name?
Norbert Leo Butz.
Norbert Leo Butz. And I totally spaced his name. But I just remember hearing that for the first time and just falling. And then I heard it was coming to second stage years and years later, and I was like, I don't care what's happening, I've got to go. So I got to go see the one with Adam Cantor at second stage, and I was just
Adam Cantor was actually one of the coaches at the Jimmy's.
Oh, that's cool.
Such a nice guy. He's so kind. He's just really cool.
He seems like super authentic, and we got a chance to talk to him when he was in Band's Visit, and he just one of the nicest humans. Probably him and Alex Brightman were the two people who were just normal.
Alex Brightman.
You just walk up to him and talk to them, and they're like regular humans.
Exactly, and you find that's how most people are.
Sure.
One of my favorite stories is I was standing backstage after I had just finished my solo, and I walked backstage and I was waiting, and I was standing with Ben Platt.
Of course you were.
Yeah.
Again, a Wednesday, right? When you're the Jimmy Ward winner.
We were just standing backstage, and then Ekele was the last one. She
Yeah.
came out to sing her solo, and she started singing, and Ben and I just look at each other, and he just goes, "Oh my gosh," and I go, "I know," and then he's so funny that he'll every time she was riffing, he riffs with her, and he moves his head with. He's such a cool guy.
How funny that you were the one telling Ben Platt, I know.
Well, she's just. I had heard her in rehearsal.
Sure.
And the funny thing is, nobody had heard me sing the whole week, because I didn't have any solos in the group numbers or anything. The only people that heard me were in my coaching group.
Got it.
And so I won, and everybody's like, "What? What?" I only had a speaking part, and I leaped across the stage.
It must have been some leap.
Gosh. But anyway, it was just. He's such a. Most of the people there are just people.
They get it.
Are just humans, just like we are. And
that's the best, right?
They're super kind, and they're super fun to be with. My best advice is to go into it with the mindset of I'm going to learn something, and just have fun, and take away as much as I can, not only from the people teaching me, but from the people that are with me, the other actors, because you can sit there and just look at people and learn something.
I'm sure.
And it's an incredible experience. And if you go into it with the mindset that all these people are your competition, you're not gonna like what you get out of it.
Sure.
It's just gonna be
That goes back to what you were talking about earlier with kind of that community vibe with theater, stuff like that, and how many people find a home in theater because of that. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's very wise. What else? Is there anything else you want to make sure that you share about the Jimmys or about your experience?
It is. Oh gosh, the best thing, and this is what anybody there has already been there will tell you. This is something that Andrew said before he started. Is if you go, take care of yourself. Like, that's just for actors in general.
Sure.
We have to take care of our bodies because this is our tool. This is what we have.
Right.
And they're hard rehearsals. They're 14 hours a day, every day. You get up at 6:30, and you're going to bed at midnight.
Oh.
Because not only are you at the rehearsal there, you're also going back to the dorm and running your music.
You got to be ready, right?
Your lines and everything that you're doing. So it is mental as much as it is physical and talent. It is all a mental game, and taking care of yourself is the best thing that you can do.
Very cool. One last question. This just popped into my head.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to talk to Andrew after you won?
Yes, I did.
Walk me through what that's like. Because you did some with the Evan Hansen cast, right?
Yeah,
did
we
I see a video like that?
Yeah, we did.
So
we
did
sang
you before and after?
Yeah, we sang "You Will Be Found" with Alex Lacamoire playing the piano. And
again, no big deal,
yeah,
right?
No. Such a cool guy. He side note, he texted me on Instagram and he goes, "I'm so proud of you. You did so great." And I was like, "I just got a text from Alex Lacamoire."
You're like, "Hold my phone. I need a minute." That's awesome.
I texted him back and I said, "Thanks, Alex."
Phone drop. That's awesome.
First name basis. And but after the Jimmys, Renee, okay, they're both super sweet. They just come up and they just go, "Great job," and they just hug you. They don't. They just
learn words. They know their words, and so that's probably the best response.
But Renee is super funny. She calls everybody baby or sweet.
Of course she does.
And she's so funny. And I think it's their southernness. They were so sweet. They were so kind, and you just got to we just sat there and talked, and they were like, "What are you gonna want to do with, after?"
What did you tell them?
I said, "You know what? No idea." I mean, I am going to college, University of Hartford, the Hart School in Connecticut.
That's so great.
So I'm super excited for that.
Walk me through that. How did you choose that? You probably have
oh my gosh,
10 options at your.
It was incredible. I went to the Unifieds in LA, National Unified auditions, and I was there, and I had no idea what Hart even was. It wasn't even on my radar.
Sure.
And I was just finished an audition, and I was warming up down the hallway, and a lady came up to me, and she goes, "So do you want to do a walk-in audition for Hart?" And I said,
like it was just like, "Do you want ketchup?"
Yeah.
Like it was just like
and so I was like, "Sure, why not?" In my head, I was thinking, it's an experience, an audition.
Sure.
What a better thing to do. And so I went in, had a song and everything, and I said, "I have this song," and they go, "Cool." And I gave them my resume. Luckily, I had an extra resume, and I just by chance printed an extra one up. I had auditioned for like 3 schools or something.
Sure.
And so I went and I gave them my headshot resume. And they just looked at my resume, and I was telling them what I was going to sing, and they go, "Can you?" And I had on my resume Seymour from Little Shop of Horrors. And they go, "Can you sing Suddenly Seymour?" And I go, "Sure."
Of course I can.
And I
Can't everyone hear? That's awesome.
And then they go, "Can you sing Happy Birthday?" And so I sang Happy Birthday. And then that was it. That was it. And then I left. And then the next day I had the dance audition and everything. And then I didn't think about it again. I didn't even think that I was like, Hart wasn't on my radar. Like I auditioned for the experience.
And that's kind of strange too, right?
Yeah, and I just did it. And I was expecting that I might go to AMDA or Cornish School of the Arts, or even the University of Utah, which I didn't get into. It's the only school I didn't. It's the only one I didn't get into. And then a couple months later, it was like a week before the deadline to choose which school.
Sure.
And Hart emailed me, and they go, "So you were accepted, and we want to give you a $23,000 scholarship." And I was like, "Okay," but milk it a little bit. I can't really go there even with that much money because I'm going to Connecticut. It's far away from Utah.
Sure.
And they came back and they said, let us do what we can. And they came back, "Okay, we can give you $35,000, which is full scholarship." And I said, sold. Let's go.
He said, where do I sign?
Sold. I'm ready.
That's
and
awesome.
so it was honestly all by fate and chance that I'm going to University of Hartford. And then I fell in love with the school. It's amazing. And everybody was like everybody on Broadway that I talked to said that's our number 3 school. Out of all the musical, like NYU Tisch is like 19 and
Sure.
Hart's like 3. Because like you have so many people that have gone there, and it's just like,
Yeah, they've got a
Yeah.
deep bench now that you're saying that. I'm realizing that. That makes all the sense.
yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great location, only 2 hours from New York.
Yeah, you can jump up for an audition or whatever.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very last, for real last. If you could choose whatever show you wanted on Broadway right now, whatever role you wanted, what would you step into?
Easy, Orpheus. Easy, so easy.
How did I know?
Oh my gosh.
How did I know you were gonna
literally
say that?
the coolest show I've ever seen. Amazing writing. And you know what? Most of the shows that I like, I didn't like them at first. Like, I listened to Hadestown, I was like, this is gross. This is not good.
That's how I was too. I was like, hard pass. And then I saw it.
And then you start listening to it for real. And and then I saw it, and I was like, okay, this is like easily my favorite show now. And
It takes time though. Like I think I describe it to somebody as like, I feel like I need to see that show maybe 4 times for me to understand everything, but I really liked what I saw.
yeah, it is so cool. Like the choreography, everything's so cool. But it was by far
Very
Orpheus.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to play for us? Sing for
Sure.
us? Well,
Let's do it.
There was something in the desert. There was someplace wild and green, and a child in a village I passed through. There are places that I've traveled, and so many things I've seen, and it all fades away. But you, I was sliding down a mountain, I was burning in the sun, I was crying with amazement at the view. I was capturing a moment, but when all is said and done, well, it all fades away. But you, it all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away, but you. I have sailed across the oceans, past the cities and the farms, on a never-ending quest for something new. But the only things that mattered were the 4 days in your arms, and it all fades away. But you, it all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away, but you. There is one thing that's eternal, that cannot be torn apart. There is one thing that remains forever true. Past the thinking past the breathing, past the beating of my heart. It will all fade away, but you, it all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away, but you, it all fades away, it all fades away, it all fades away, but you, but you, but you. Heavy and hard is the heart of the king, king of iron, king of steel. The heart of the king loves everything, like the hammer loves the nail. But the heart of a man is a simple one, small and soft, flesh and blood, and all that it loves is a woman. A woman is all that it loves, and Hades is king of the scythe and the sword. He covers the world in the color of rust. He scrapes the sky and scars the earth, and he comes down heavy and hard on us. But even that hardest of hearts unhardened suddenly when he saw her there, Persephone in a mother's garden, sun on her shoulders, wind in her hair, the smell of the flowers she held in her hand, and the pollen that fell from her fingertips. And suddenly Hades is only a man with the taste of nectar upon his lips, singing la 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 la. What has become of the heart of that man? Now that the man is king, what has become of the heart of that man? Now that he has everything, the more he has, the more he holds, the greater the weight of the world on his shoulders. See how he labors beneath that load, afraid to look up, and afraid to let go. And he keeps his head low, and he keeps his back bending. He's grown so afraid that he'll lose what he owes. But what he doesn't know is that what he's defending, he's already gone. Where is the treasure inside your chest? Where is the pleasure? Where is your youth? Where is the man with his head in his hands, who stands in the garden with nothing to lose, singing